Good morning, everyone. How are you doing today? Michael Zuber, one rental at a time. And this is a video that everybody interested in real estate should watch. So I'm going to ask for your help. This video needs to go viral. So as I understand from Graham Stephan, I need you to hit the thumbs up right now. I need you to leave comments right now. Great video, whatever it is. Thank you. The more comments and more thumbs up we get in the beginning of this video, the more viral this video will go. And what we're going to talk about today is 50 years of housing data. We're going to talk about each year. It's going to be a lot of data, but more importantly, we're going to look at periods of time, because what you will see is I think we need to pay attention to 1978 to 1982. We are dangerously close to a setup that could take us back to that period. So if that's where we're going, we should appreciate what is going on. So again, I'm going to pull up a spreadsheet with 50 years of data. It took me over a week to put together. I'm going to give you the data sources, the year by year, some calculations. We're going to talk about the biggest crash, the most unaffordable, wages, down payment, payments, affordability, ownership, all of these things. So again, please help me. Thumbs up, leave a comment, leave lots of comments so this video goes viral. And again, if you like talking about real estate investing or you're thinking about it, do me a favor and follow the channel one rental at a time. I bring you original content every day via a daily financial news. I give you hot takes, but also I bring you 7 multimillionaires every week that we talk about investing. So this is not only my channel, this is a channel with 7 additional experts that are doing deals all the time. One rental at a time needs to go up the charts of YouTube because we are really doing the work. We're not just standing outside talking. We're not going to stimulus videos or other things. We are real estate investors. So again, if that's what you want, hit subscribe, show me some love, share the channel, ask others to join, but please, thumbs up. Right now, comments right now. This video needs to go viral. And with that, we will bring up the data because it is pretty interesting. 50 years, 1970 to 2020. So again, folks, we are going to go through this. If you want to look at any particular year, I suggest pausing the video because we will be moving through it. We are going to talk about the categories first. We are going to talk about all the different colors because it is important. So first, we will go through what data I've collected. And before you ask, I have cited my data sources, right? Where did the sources come from? So it's in the spreadsheet if people wanted to go back and build the data. Again, I put this together without knowing what the data would say. And again, once you do that, you can figure out what is going on. So we looked at home ownership rate. This is something that is often quoted and talked about. It is often something that governments say, hey, we want more. I remember President Bush saying we want more home ownership. It's a good thing. It is a good thing, but we will see how home ownership changes since 1970 to 2020. We will talk about median home prices. A lot of us have been investing only in the last 5 or 10 years, and we have no appreciation for where housing was in the 70s or 80s. And how that relates to today. Something you will see is I have taken the luxury of doing some math calculations for you. So what you see in home appreciation is not a metric from any site, it is math. I simply took 1970's number, 1971's number, and did the math. So you can see housing went up in 71, 7.4%. The reason there is no calculation from 1970 is that is my first year, and I didn't want to go collect 1969's data. It is just my time horizon is 70 to 2020. So again, every year after 1970, you have a calculation because it's the year before to current year. You will see what years are explosive growth. You can already see on the screen in front of you that in 1978, housing went up 16%. Housing went up 16.1% in 69. And again, we will continue to scroll over momentarily. From there, because I believe housing is payment based, I also went and collected interest rates. So I collected the average interest rate from 1970, 71 going forward. With that, I assumed a down payment, and I actually made it a variable. So I could change this to 5%. I could change this to 20%. But what I did in this exercise is I changed it. I just assumed 10% down. You can change that to whatever you would like. So again, the down payment is 10% of the median home price in this example. Then I did the financed amount. That is just math. That is price minus down payment. And then again, I calculated the payment. The payment in this case is $166. I would love a payment of $166. However, I would not like the average income. The average income of a family of 4 in 1970 was a measly $8,733. Crazy, right? Also notice that this time I took wage growth, because not only do we have median income by year, but I can do the math. Just like home appreciation above, I do not have a base calculation for 1970, but I do for 1971. So as you could see, wages grew 3.4%, 1970 to 71. And again, what you can see on the screen already is it was really good to be an employee in 78 and 79. Wages went up 11 and 9% those 2 years. Going back to my calculations, we have monthly gross income. That is simply income divided by 12. So it's 8,073 divided by 12, give us 727. Now for an important calculation, how affordable housing is. Basically, this is your housing payment of 166 divided by 727. So you are 22% of gross. That is a yes answer from a bank. If you are applying for a mortgage and your mortgage payment, at least most of the time, is only 22%, you are getting a yes answer. And then finally, as some of you highlighted to me, we are down payment bound. It is harder and harder and harder and harder to accumulate a down payment. So what I did here is say, okay, what percent of the down payment, in this case, $2,400, is of your income? And you will see this number change. In this case, it's only 27%. So again, you can already see on the screen that housing, if it's green, it means it's the best period. So housing was most affordable from a down payment perspective in 73 and 74. That is 1973 and 1974. So again, I did all of these calculations, and what we will do is we will look at it a decade at a time. So from 1970 to 1979, and then we will do 1980 to 89 and 90 to 99 and all of that. But we will do all 50 years together. So what I want to call out for you is interest rates, right? Interest rates start at 8%. I guess they hit a low of 7, but then start spiking. Inflation is taking off in the 70s. Inflation is taking off. You have wage inflation, you have housing inflation. It is going nuts, folks, and you are seeing the Fed raise rates. I believe we are headed to an environment with rising inflation. I'm not calling for interest rates to go this high, but if interest rates just double, that could be a problem. In addition to this, you see that housing is relatively affordable. It's below 30% until 1979. 1979 starts a problem, and 1980 is not good. Generally speaking, housing was affordable in the 70s, right? You're only at 20, you go from 20, look at that, 20%. That's great. Payment of gross, how would you like to have your payment 1/5 of your income? That's pretty good. Housing appreciated, what did it average? In the 70s, it was up 8.3%. You can see it right down here at the bottom. That's beauty of Excel, 8.3%. It was up 74.8% cumulatively. It actually compounds, so it's probably up even more than that, but you get the point. Yeah, housing doubled. Look at that. It started at 24 grand. It ends the 70s at 48%, or 48%, $48,000, excuse me. So your average housing cost doubled. What did wages do? Oh, look at that. Wages doubled too, basically, from 18.7 to 16. Basically double. So again, 1970s housing is generally affordable, but watch out. It is getting expensive. You see that payment of gross jumped to 31. Also down payment jumped. So again, if you want to look at the 70s in more details, pause the video now and look at it because I'm about to jump to the 80s. 3, 2, 1. All right, let's look at the 80s. Folks, we have a problem. So lots of stuff start to go wonky in the 80s. And again, remember what happened in the late 70s, inflation, inflation, inflation. Now we're in the 80s. Well, home appreciation went up one more time, but interest rates kept going and it became a problem. Look at that. Payment of gross jumps to 39. What was it in 1979? It jumped. Look at that huge jump from 31% to 39. You are now getting no answers from a bank. 81, no answer. 82, no answer. Not 83, no. 84, no. Most of us are getting no answers from a bank. And again, what happens is housing starts to fall, or at least the rate of appreciation falls. It goes from 16 to 12 to 7 to 4 to 0. The housing boom slowly deflates. It's not catastrophic. One thing I would like to add here, if I could go back, is volume. My guess is volume of real estate transaction falls, but I do not have that data. It is just an opinion. Also, what you can see is home affordability falls. It's because it's unaffordable, folks. Inflation, higher rates. Look at these rates. They go from 13 to 16, 16. Not good, not good. So what else is going on? So from 1980, home prices are 55 grand. Where are they in 89? 93 grand. So I don't know, what is that? 80%? What did income do? Income went from 17 to 28. So incomes did not keep up. Incomes did not keep up. Wage growth still was strong, right? It's just falling, right? 7, 5, 3, 5, right? So wages kept going up. But housing was unaffordable. You are not getting a yes answers from a bank. Banks stopped lending, at least at existing mortgage rates at 16 and 16%. And because they stopped lending, housing occupancy or housing ownership went down. You see how all of these are connected, right? Inflation starts in the late 70s. Rates have to go up. Housing becomes unaffordable. Housing drops in ownership. All of this stuff is tying together with what could be coming. Generally speaking, it gets better as the 80s go on because the balloon is collapsing and rates are falling, right? It goes from a high of 16.6 in 1981 to 10% in 1989. So again, if you want to look at the 80s data in more detail, you could go ahead and hit pause because I am going to scroll over to the 90s now. So the 90s, we are still coming off a very low home ownership rate. I'm guessing this was maybe when Bush was in office. I don't know. This still might have been Clinton. I don't remember. I think 92. Anyways, who cares? Something happened, right? Home ownership is starting to tick up. It goes from a low of 64% basically to in the 66. We have home appreciation finally bottom out. It had a negative basically 1% in 1991. You are seeing rates fall throughout the 90s. They go 10, 9, 8, 7, 8, 7, 7, 6. So rates generally go down 40%. Housing has a pretty slow year, pretty slow decade, right? 97 to 120. That's only about a 25, 24% growth in a decade where other years were 170%. So housing slowed down. What did wages do? Yeah, wages went up from 30 grand to 40, so about 30%. Wage growth, never negative. Wage growth was up through the decade. Payments start to go down, right? In the 80s, you were getting no answers. Remember these? Now the 90s, you're getting yes answers. Housing is a lot more affordable in the 90s, right? Starts at 31 and goes all the way. Look at this. Housing throughout the 90s is more and more affordable. And guess what happens? Ownership goes up. Shocking. I'm shocked by this. I digress. Also, wages beat inflation, or wages beat homes, right? You can see this because down payment starts at 32 and it goes to 30. So the 90s, generally a good time to buy. Wages went up faster than housing in the 90s. That's what this says, because again, wages or It started at 32% and went to 30. So, we're now healing after a pretty rough 78 through 82. So again, if you want to see the 90s, go ahead and hit pause here. We are going to go into the 2000s. So what happens in the 2000s? Well, the Great Recession happens, but it starts with home ownership. Remember, home ownership was getting better, and it rises to a peak of 69% in 2004. It goes slowly. In addition to that, we have wages going up 10% in 2003 and 2004. You can see them right here. Right? Again, everything generally going good. And then the Great Recession kicks us in the teeth. I'll also talk about, again, wages went up faster than housing. Look at this. We continue to fall. Right? Payments are getting cheaper and cheaper because the interest rates start 2008, and by 2004, they're 6. Housing is getting cheaper on a payment basis through 2004. And then it changes. It changes in 2005. What we have for the first time is we have wage growth in 2005 really starts to take a hit. Wages go negative. Look at this, go negative. Wage growth goes negative. 06, 07. The Great Recession sucked. The Great Recession sucked. The other thing to take from this is wages get hit first. Housing got hit second. Notice this. Wages go down negative in 06, 07, but housing goes negative 08, 09, 10, 11, 12. People that are talking about an immediate housing crash do not know what they're talking about. Housing moves slowly. It's not a stock or a crypto. The other thing to realize is down payments become a problem in 06, 07, and 08 because wages go down. It becomes a problem. Wages go down. Down payments go as high as 43% in 2007. Not good, even though rates are going down. The other thing to see is payments do get cheaper. They go down to 18% and lower, 2012, 2013. So let's keep moving forward. Keep moving forward. Again, we'll look at the last 8 years together. Again, home appreciation the last year was negative, was 2012. Wage growth is growing now. And look at that spike in 2020. This is why I think 1978 and 79 are interesting. We could be on the cusp of a problem. Home appreciation still healthy. Payments still healthy. Right? Payments have never been cheaper in 2020. Only 16%. They were basically that in 2012. Although down payments are getting kind of pricey. So again, a lot of data here, but what I'm really looking at for me is wage inflation. These numbers scare me. 2019, 2020, wage inflation up, basically 9 and 14%. I will remind you about 78 and 79. Look at that, wage inflation, 78, 79. That was a problem because what happened after that is they had to raise interest rates. And again, I'm not talking interest rates going back to 11, 13, 16, 16. But what happens if they go back to 5, 6, and 7? That's a problem. And again, housing becomes unaffordable. When rates go up, housing is unaffordable. Then when that happens, housing slows down. You have less owners. Folks, the story is very, very clear. Inflation in wages will raise housing, which will raise rates, and it becomes a problem. Home ownership will go down. It is very clear to me that that's what we are setting up right now after looking at this for 50 years. Other things to look at is min-max, highs and lows. So again, what I've done from this data is I've gone back and looked at it. Home ownership, highest was 2004 at 69%. Lowest was 63.7 in 2015. The average is 65.4%. In today, or 2020, we are at 65% or 65.8. Home appreciation, highest in 1978. Folks, pay attention to 78 to 82 because we are on the cusp. 2009, down 8.9% negative. Anybody who calls for a 20% or greater fall in 1 year is a complete idiot that you should never watch again. Housing does not fall that way. It falls slowly over years. It's a slow train wreck. The average appreciation is 5%. What we got in 2020 was 6%. Wage growth. Highest wage growth on record is 14.3%. We had it in 2020. Remember 78 and 79, 11 and 9%, I think. Watch out. Wages can go down. Wages went down in 2010, 8%. Average wage growth is just under 5%, with the highest being last year. Watch out, be careful. 30-year fixed rate mortgage, just because I had the data, the highest on record was 16.4. The lowest on record was 3.1. And yes, 2021 is even lower. The average rate for 50 years is almost 8%. This is a big one for me. This is like the most important factor to me is how affordable housing is. In 1981, housing was not affordable. It was 46.7% of gross monthly income. No answers from bank. I believe we could be headed back here as rates rise. Make sure you get 30-year debt, because if you're a landlord with 30-year debt, rents will go up. Rents will go up. Rents will go up. The lowest was last year. Housing was cheap last year. You want to know why everybody was bidding? Because housing was cheap. The average payment is 25%. Again, that is a yes answer from a bank. That makes total sense. Total sense. The cheapest was last year. Down payment. Highest down payment was 2007. What happened in 2007? We lost wages. Wages went negative. 1974 was the cheapest. Who knew? I had no idea that wages on a part of down payment was 1974. The average is 32%. Again, that's a yes answer from a bank, or that's the down payment. We're running a little hot of that. But if you go over here, this is something I've added. We'll just expand this. This was hidden because I didn't want you to be distracted. If you look at July 2021, folks, I think we have a problem. I'm going to go down to home appreciation. Home appreciation, I have no idea it appreciated this month in 7 months. Wage growth, nothing. Interest rates lower, so payments are okay. Your payments went up to almost 20%, but that's from a base of 16. Here's the big problem. Down payment is now 45%. People are down payment constrained. Home price, average home price, it's 363, which we see over here. That is crazy. In 2020, what was it? It was 270. You can see that right here. In 2020, the median home price was 270. Now it is 363. This is a problem. And if you go down here, down payment is now 45% of your take home, or of your gross income. We have a problem. However, the payment is still affordable. But the problem is when interest rates go up like they did in the 80s, again, this is where I think we are going. It is very eye-opening to me. I had no idea when I did this. Going back here. Again, I think 2021 could be like 1978. Wage inflation explodes, or 2020, wage inflation explodes. Everything goes higher. Then they start jacking up interest rates. It becomes unaffordable. People get no answers, and then home ownership falls. Very interesting stuff. So again, 50 years of data, highs and lows, data sources. It is all there for you. Do me a favor, folks, if you're still watching, leave another comment. Tell me what you thought. What was your biggest takeaway? We need lots of comments, lots of thumbs up. Subscribe for real data. This video needs to go viral. And you are the only people that can help me. Thumbs up, comments, subscriptions. People need to see this 50 years of data. Help me out. And if you want, take the video and share it on Facebook. Let's get everybody looking at 50 years of housing data. Take care. Bye.